Hey Instagram, it's Seth. I'm here with Marie and Taylor, and we are thrilled to be checking in with you. Marie, Taylor, welcome. Good morning.
Hello, hello.
Good morning.
Taylor, over to you. You're in charge.
All right, we're now on Facebook as well. So we are coming live to talk about co-working today. We just launched a Kimbo co-working, and Marie has been a huge part of that, so she's here to give some details on that. And then we'll also be talking a little bit about human connection. So we'll start with a riff from Seth and then dive into Q&A and hear a little bit more from Marie.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for checking this out. Thank you for being the people that you are. If you are dealing with health problems or someone you care about is, our heart goes out to you. It's going to be a slog. And one of the things that we need to do when we're in a slog is not panic and instead figure out how to contribute, how to see other people, and how to connect. Human beings are connection machines. The internet is worth noting that the key words are inter and net, both of which mean connection. Every single successful internet intervention for the last 25 years has been about connecting one person to another. And people don't know what to do when it's hard to connect, and they don't really like being disrupted. And now we have both things going on at the same time. So at akimbo.com, we have launched a free co-working space. Free as in it doesn't cost anything. Free as in there's no pitches. Free as in it's a place for you to find the others so that when you are working from home, you don't feel quite so alone. It's not a social network. It's a place to be next to others who are on a journey like yours. Go to akimbo.com, AKIMBO, and right at the top you'll see a link to join us. And super lucky to be able to work with our provost, Marie Schacht, who is an extraordinarily gifted pedagogical leader and a fine human. And so I'll turn it over to her because I want to hear her thoughts on where we are right now.
Yes, thank you, Seth. I love that you broke down inter and net and that it's all about connection. And we've really taken, what we've found over the last couple of years doing this virtually, the best ways for people to connect in our workshops, and we put it all in one place for people to come together to be on this journey together. So we've got a space for daily inspiration. We've opened a couple of Zoom rooms for 24 hours a day where you can come in and work silently together or grab your lunch and sit down with one another. There's space to start discussions on topics that you're curious about. We've got a space for meetups so you can form mastermind groups or small working groups. It's really a place to find the others, to connect and to be with each other. And we're also hosting a couple of events in there where there are roundtable discussions for ways to be more productive working virtually. So we're really excited to have people join us and to have this space to share and connect. So yeah, we're really excited.
And just to remind everybody has the chance to lead right now. Everyone has the chance to connect. This is not a business project for us. The team, all 7 of us, dove in really deep to build this for you. It's for you and by you. Don't come if you want to sell something, but come if you have something to contribute. And if you can contribute somewhere else, that's even better. Organize something, find the others, reach out to somebody who needs to hear from you. Maybe they haven't heard from you in a long time. What we have right now is the beginning of a slog. But what makes something a slog is it lasts a long time. And in talking to my friend Brian on his podcast the other day, what I said was, when they write the history of this decade of you, your biography, what are they going to say you did this week, this month, next month? Because that's what we get to do, is become the person we want to become. And if you are lucky enough to be sheltered in place and safe, here's the question. What are you good at that you could become great at in the next 3 or 4 weeks? Because becoming great at something is an opportunity. It's a privilege. And if all you're going to do is survive the next 4 weeks, you've just wasted 4 weeks you're never going to get back. But if you can figure out how to dig in and get great at something, well then it's time well spent. I know, Taylor, you've got a bunch of questions, one that just flew by. Brian's podcast is called The Moment. I've been on it 5 or 6 times. It's a really good podcast, even the episodes I'm not on, and it's easy to find. So back to you.
We're posting it actually later this week, that episode. So
perfect.
They'll be able to find it on Instagram. All right, we have a question from Paulina that came in earlier today on Instagram. She said, co-working is a super foreign concept to me. Can you explain the benefits of working with someone that you don't know?
So the inspiration for this came when someone told me that they were building or being part of a thing where people were going on Zoom on mute and just working with other people, meaning there was no interaction. You just knew someone else could see you. And knowing that you could be seen kept you from feeding the cats 7 times. It kept you from turning on the TV because you didn't feel so alone. So we said, how do we multiply that? Why does anyone go to a WeWork or co-working space? All you need is a laptop. Why not do it from wherever you are? Well, part of it is the appropriate level of distraction. Part of it is the coffee's free. But a big part of it is knowing you're not alone. And that is part of the story we tell ourselves, that we want to know we're not alone, and we want to know that tomorrow will be another day. And when we have to confront both at the same time, that we're alone and that there's doom and gloom, it can freak us out. It can paralyze us. And we can't change the world, but we can change the way we see the world. And that is our mission here.
And I want to add, there's mirror neurons, if anyone's familiar with those. And why do I leave my house and go to a coffee shop with my laptop? It's because other people are doing what I want to be doing. And when I see those people sitting at their laptops, focused and working, I'm more likely to put myself in that posture too. So it's a space to be together, as Seth said, and not feel alone, where that doom and gloom. Or feel like I'm going to take care of all my housing goods, housing chores and things. So it's a place to be together and to see others that are doing what I want to be doing, which is showing up and being productive and contributing my best work.
So I just tried something bold here in Instagram, and I flipped the camera lens. So now Taylor and Marie are on screen. So
Hello, everyone.
there you go.
Oh, that's innovative. That is something. Yeah,
and it's a cool view from here. We're seeing Seth's camera.
Yeah, Seth, if you put us into speaker view, then you can really see all of us.
You want me over
on Zoom?
Okay, let's try that. There we go. Okay, but now all the Facebook people are just seeing my phone. So I'm going, now that people know what you look like, I'm going to move the phone back, because I next time we will organize this so it works everywhere. But we're making progress technically here.
Right.
We might have a nice tripod.
Thank you.
Yeah, the tripod's cool.
I love gadgets. There's no question about it.
All right, cool. So we have another question about the co-working space from Sweeney. Sweeney said, what types of people will I meet inside a Kimbo co-working space if I join?
What kind of people do you want to meet? This is the key to the whole thing. This is all of our workshops. People show up at one of our workshops, the freelancers workshop, which we're launching soon, and they say, wait, there's 500 people here. This is stressing me out. I can't possibly get to know everyone. Yeah, that's right. How many people are in your town that you don't know? This is not... We have brainwashed people into being force-fed. Force-fed what the next sponsor is. Force-fed what's on the end cap of the supermarket. Force-fed about what you're supposed to do at work. Stop. Just stop. Life is an endless buffet, and you don't get to take everything from the buffet. You get to pick. So the crab's legs, they look enticing, but if you've ever taken the crab's legs, you know it's just not worth the effort. And the same thing is true in a co-working space. There are people in the co-working space who are wasting all day. You can tell in 2 seconds that they're one of those people. So don't hang out with them. And there are other people in the co-working space who are leveling up, who are asking the right questions, who are challenging each other to go to the next level. Well, go sit at that table. And with 1,500 people so far, there's a lot of people there from all over the world, from more than 50 countries. You'll find somebody. But the real question is, who do you want to find? Because we piped this Twitter thing and this Instagram thing into your house. And if all you're going to do is listen to the loudest people with the biggest microphones, you're going to be way distracted. I'm ranting.
And
Sorry.
Something that's really cool that you can do in the co-working space when it's on the internet that you can't do in person is we have a search bar. So if you know the 3 keywords that I want to find people who are thinking about canoe trips, or you can search for those people in this platform because they fill out their bio, and you can find the others. So pick 3 keywords and then have fun with the search bar, and you can find them.
Yeah, I guess if I'm going to add a sentence to tomorrow's blog post, it's curate your inputs. Don't let other people curate them. Do it for yourself.
So for anyone who's just tuning in now, I just want to reiterate that we just launched a new co-working space, our first co-working space, not that it's new compared to anything else. But it's Kimbo Co-working, and it's free. It's all online. If you visit akimbo.com, you can find all the details there.
AKIMBO.com.
Yes. Okay, we have a question from Jeannie, and I think this relates to something Seth mentioned before. She said, as someone who is young, healthy, and staying indoors, I'm trying to view this time as a gift for me to focus on growing myself. Do you have any recommendations for books or podcasts to check out to do so?
Love this question. I'm going to say that the books and podcasts are probably already in your house. I'm happy to post more, and if you go to seth.blog and search for book recommendations or book lists, there's plenty there. I have my usual suspects that I listen to or read every year. But you already did the hardest part. And the hardest part is deciding that you are going to become a different person than you are today. And it's really hard to do that because it means you have to say goodbye to the person you used to be. And people, I did an interview with a woman in France yesterday. And she said, when will this be over? And I said, here's the deal. When they launched the hydrogen bomb tests in the 50s, it was never over. Then we had a world with the hydrogen bomb. And when the Cold War happened, it was never over. Even after the Cold War ended and the Soviet Union went away, the world wasn't back to what it used to be. And the world will never go back to what it used to be. It never does. This is not the world we lived in yesterday, and it will not be the world of next week. So we begin by saying, the world changed, and it's going to change again. Will you? Or are you going to use the force of your mental energy to try to make the world the way it was? Because it's not going to be the way it was. And so, given that it's going to be a different place, a new place, will you become someone who has a different narrative, a different way of thinking? So, yeah, I love podcasts. If you go to seth.blog/podcasts, you can listen to more than 400 hours of me being on podcasts that other people run. But you don't need 400 hours from me. Maybe you only need 10 minutes from me. And after that, it's about making a decision.
And something else a moment like this lets us all do is look at our own habits and defaults. So you also have a chance for reflection, not just more consumption of ideas and things. And I agree with Seth that all the books that you want to read are probably already in your house. I went through and made a stack of the 10 books that I had bought, over the last year that I haven't read, and those are the books for, the next 4 weeks. But to really look at your habits and study your defaults, because you can notice some of your hiding spots that you use when you don't want to do the things that you really actually do want to do. And so a moment like this allows you to really look at those and reflect on those.
And you should form a mastermind group, whether it's on our platform or any place else. Find 3 people, 4 people, check in, make an agenda, share goals, and do it again, and do it again, and do it again. Nothing's stopping you.
Yeah, I would also add, I just discovered the benefits of the app Goodreads for anyone who is interested in trying to figure out what are books that might be suggested for you, or finding out what your friends are reading. It's a really cool way to do that. So I would check that out during this time and start filling in all the books you read over the years. All right, we have so many questions coming in. This is a hot topic today. This one is from Yinzi. He said, how do small businesses in the creative industry survive during a global crisis like this?
Okay. So one of the things they teach you in economics is called the velocity of money. And the velocity of money means how many times does that dollar bill get spent per year? And when the velocity of money is high, it means that a lot of transactions are going on. And when people are confident and things are fairly stable, it's easier to get people to invest in something new. And what's going to happen during the slog is that the velocity of money is going to slow way down. That people are going to not only stay in place physically, but they're really unlikely to do what's probably the right thing, which is launch the plans for a big thing post-slog, which means that you're probably not going to get any people calling you and saying, we have a really juicy creative project for you right now. What will you do about this? Well, one thing you can do is you can race to the bottom. You can lower your prices dramatically, go on Fiverr, go on Upwork, offer to make logos for $1, and you'll probably be making a mistake if you do that. And the reason is, the problem with a race to the bottom is you might win. The alternative is to say, you know what? For the next 5 weeks, I'm probably not getting any good new gigs. What could I become great at? And there are 3 parts to this. One part to this is, do I have a skill? And if I don't have a skill, a real skill, one that I can point to, go get one. This is a perfect moment to go get a skill. The number of things you can learn online for free is infinite. Number 2, prove that you have a skill. How do you prove you have a skill? Start doing work. Doing work without permission. Find a charity you care about. Build a website for them. Find a cause you believe in. Figure out how to write copy for them. Figure out how to do... the number of places you can show up without leaving your house and produce work that is stunning without anyone's permission is huge. And then the third one is add A and B together, 1 and 2 together, and show us that you know something and that you've done the work. Because you are not your resume, but you might be your portfolio. So make your portfolio something dramatic, something extraordinary. There's nothing stopping you except fear of becoming a better version of who you are right now. Because this slog will end. And when this slog ends, who's going to be ready to take the mantle and lead? It's not going to be the people who were in charge or at the top of their game 3 months ago, because they're too leveraged. It's going to be people like you. So this is the chance.
All right, cool. We have a fun question from Roger. He's wondering what the dark chocolate inventory is looking like in the office right now. We're huge chocolate fans in the office. And Marie gives chocolate sometimes from North Carolina.
This is part of it.
It's looking good.
Yeah, it's looking pretty full with no one else in the office.
I just want to give a small shout out, since we're talking chocolate, to Sean Askinozy, one of my heroes. You can go to askinozychocolate.com. They're still shipping. Science has proven that it is easier to be home alone if you have more chocolate. Tell him I sent you. ASKINOSIE. Sean is an extraordinary human. His book is well worth reading, and he's great. So the chocolate's really good too.
Awesome. All right, this question's from Mario. It's a little different than today's topic, but I think it's a good question. He's wondering how to become a best-selling author, and I know Seth has a good riff about this.
Steve Martin, how to become a millionaire. Step 1, start with $2 million. The best way to become a best-selling author is to sell a lot of books. That's pretty much the method. So how do you sell a lot of books? You don't do it by gaming the bestseller list. The bestseller list is a fraud. The bestseller list is easy to game. The bestseller list doesn't really measure much of anything. And the badge of I made that bestseller list or this bestseller list is now officially meaningless. You can be an Amazon bestseller in your category if you sell 240 copies of your book in one day. What it means to be a best-selling author actually is to find the smallest viable audience, a group of people you can identify who, if they read your book, will be super grateful that they read your book. Not because they did you a favor, but because your book actually made things better. And 2, that group of people will be happier if they tell someone else. That there's something about their version of the world and their status in the world that telling someone else about your book will make them happier and better. If you do those 2 things, not only are you now officially a best-selling author, but you've made things better. And so years ago, I used to sit down to write a book because I needed to make a living writing a book. And so I said, I need to write a book. What book should I write? But now I say, writing a book is a pain in the ass. Writing a book takes an enormous amount of time and energy after you've written it to get people to read it and stuff. So I'm only going to write a book if it meets those 2 requirements. If it's for the smallest group of people I can identify and live with, where if I help them it works, and 2, where spreading it makes their lives better. So go do that. You have 4 weeks, 6 weeks, sprint. Go write a best-selling book.
Just put that on my list. All right, cool. This one's from Marie. It's from Christoph. He said, what types of lighthearted things are happening inside of the Kimbo co-working space? I want to meet people to talk about what's going on in the world, but also people to smile with.
This is such a great question, and Seth and I made something exactly for this, and it's called The Game Room, And we have quite a few trivia threads going in there. So that's one lighthearted place. And I have to admit, I've been checking it every day because it's fun. And Seth has come up with some pretty tricky trivia questions, and others are putting some fun ones in there too. So that's probably the most lighthearted place. We have daily inspiration, which is podcasts, links to various articles, things that are fun and uplifting there too. And lots of the meetup groups are not specific to what's happening right now. They're about things people want to make and build and create in the world. So there's a lot of lightheartedness happening inside the platform. But the game room is probably the most fun one. Yeah, great question. Thank you.
I also saw, and I contributed, someone was creating a poem inside. So he wrote 2 lines and asked people to add 2 lines. So that was a really cool way to get a thread going, a conversation.
Hold on, I just broke something. 1 second.
Oh, look at you.
1 second. I almost got it right. 1 second. There we go. So this is, here we are, inside the game room, right? And a lot of people fell for my... What happened? Oh, you want to do... Yeah, all right, hold on.
Oh, the
Did that work?
Folks are traveling today.
There we go. Close enough. So what you can see here is it's built on the really optimized Kimbo platform, which we have spent many years and millions of dollars perfecting, built on the open source discourse community. And so we've got in here daily inspiration, co-working, Zoom rooms. Ooh, that could get really meta. So we go here, and then you can see we have these 4 rooms where you can either work together silently or where you can have a conversation when you need an uplift, etc. So if I click this, I would break everything. So I'm not going to do that because that would be a Zoom room inside a Zoom room.
Yeah.
It would be like Inception. And then, so anyway, you get the idea. But the one that I am the happiest with, the one that I'm most excited about is this one, where people can start groups to meet the others. Because we are under no illusion, let me stop share here, that we have any answers here. All we've got is one of those flags that the cruise ship tour guides carry around when they're on shore. Like, hey, you want to meet up? We have a flag over here. Come join us. But if the right people show up, it makes it better. So that's why we're here. That's why we run our workshops the way we do. That's what the Alt MBA is about. If you get the right people in the room for the right reason, you can make things better.
All right, awesome. I'm glad they got the tutorial. We'll take a few more questions. Clearly this is a fun live and people are enjoying the conversation. So here's one from Leilani. She said, time management has been really difficult for me during this time of working at home, wanting to stay updated on the news and also take care of myself and my family. Any advice for how to improve time management?
Oh, I'm so excited about this question. Number 1, there are no prizes for staying updated on the news. None. 1 period of 5 minutes per day. That is sufficient. That is all you need. 5 minutes. The news will proceed without you. Nobody says, oh, that person's really good. They're up to date on the news. No. Stop. It's a trap. Number 2, time management or time leadership. Time management means that you are somehow trying to box everything into little pieces to please somebody else, somebody with authority. Time leadership says, I have 3 things that are really important to me. How will I choose to invest my time, which is going to be gone at the end of the day, to help me achieve those 3 things? And there's no question we get short-term endorphin hits from getting off topic, from doing something that we know is going to backtrack. It's like eating. A bag of potato chips might help you in the short run, but nobody ever says, after 10 years of eating a bag of potato chips every day, I'm really glad I ate a bag of potato chips every day. You don't need to do that. Figure out what's important to you, focus on that, and get off Twitter. Really, get off Twitter.
But not on Instagram, because that's where they see us live.
You can follow us on Instagram, but delete everybody else.
Yeah. All right, cool. This one's from Henry, and I think it's a really good question. I'm gonna kind of share it in a different way. So he said that he's giving about a half hour of free marketing advice to people in his world, and is struggling with feeling like, is it coming off in the wrong way? Fearful that no one will show up, but also will people interpret it that it's not generous?
Right.
So what are your thoughts on that?
It probably is coming off in the wrong way. And the reason is that a lot of people who aren't you have used it as a hustle. And they've said, how do I keep just enough back and talk about it as the magic secret that they can pay money for later? Or to create a feeling of insufficiency instead of sufficiency. And the question I might ask myself instead is, what is a specific project that this group can do with my help? Not, here I am as an expert giving you a free class, and I am aware of the irony of me sitting here as an expert giving you a free class. But instead say, wait a minute, we'd like to do X. Come, I'll contribute this, you'll contribute that, we'll be even. And this idea of being even, of not building obligation, that's the key. So Cialdini's theory of reciprocity is brilliant because it's true that if you hold the door open for someone, they really do feel like they should hold the door open for you in response. But using reciprocity to make a living isn't a good thing. That if you think about how Danny Meyer has run his great restaurants, the people who work there aren't hospitable, right? Will's restaurant, the people who work there aren't hospitable because they're hoping that you will turn around and pay them more. They're hospitable because being hospitable is a privilege. And if you can just create an experience where you're doing something that makes things better, that might be enough. And if you get the chance to do it again, well, that's another privilege. And so if we add up enough of those over time, we've built something. And in my experience, and I know a lot of people, I have never met one person who says, for the group of people I serve, I am known and I am trusted, but I'm having trouble making a living. Never happens.
I think it's also worth reflecting on who is it for. I think in moments like this, when there's uncertainty and panic and we can feel helpless, oftentimes we're doing that for ourselves because we want to offer something so that we can feel like we're contributing. And sitting in the tension of, I'm here and I'm going to be even with other people, and I'm going to open my door and let them know that I'm here to offer my services or help in the way that they need, versus having this feeling of panic and like, what do I do? What do I do? And offering things because of that feeling. So it's worth kind of trying to differentiate where is it coming from and who's it for.
Yeah, brilliant, Marie. Thank you.
That's a good point. I think this question will be great for Marie as well, since she wears multiple hats on a daily basis. Moshi said, how does one brand himself or herself as someone who wears multiple hats? What about focus of what they'll be Googled for? How do I prioritize all of my hats?
Taylor wears lots of hats too. I think for me what helped is letting go of the story that I had multiple hats and instead, showing up at the time that I show up and the time that I stop showing up for when I'm working on projects, and just taking it one thing at a time, but being really clear about what are my priorities and what things do I have, letting go of the story though that I have multiple hats, because all of it is in an effort to move the overall project forward. So it helped me to stop saying I wear multiple hats, because then I'm thinking about the energy of switching hats versus just letting it all be and taking things one at a time inside of all of that. That helped me. Taylor wears lots of hats too, and Seth does too. So what do you all think?
Yeah, I can go next. I think, like Marie said, one of the things that I notice a lot is figuring out, rather than it being hats, it's different paths that I want to grow on, and how do I make that one big path and kind of unite all of them. So that's the way I like to view it. Instead of I'm switching them on and off, it's just always on for me.
The end of the question talked about SEO. What do I want people to Google, etc. Yes. I think there's a big difference between famous and famous to the family. There are a few people who are famous. People who are famous are caricatures. They're caricatures because you don't look to Oprah for knitting advice. Maybe Oprah knows how to knit. I have no idea. But that wouldn't make her Oprah. When she's Oprah, she's Oprah. You don't need to be famous. What you need to be is famous to the family. And famous to family means among the people who already know you, which is hundreds and hundreds or thousands and thousands, what do you stand for? Because all of us wear multiple hats. And what you really want to be is the single best version of you that it is possible to be. And so when in the studio, when we have a project to do, I can say, oh, Marie's got that, because Marie, the placeholder, stands for this human and all the hats that she wears. And that doesn't mean you need to be more well-rounded. You need to be less well-rounded. But if you're going to bother wearing a hat, make it a hat you can be proud of.
Definitely. All right, we'll take a couple more questions. This is probably one of our longest lives yet, but it seems to be one of those lively, which is really cool. So one of the other things that I just want to talk about quickly is what's going on at 3 p.m. today inside our free co-working space. So if either of you want to talk a little bit about that, it'd be cool.
Over to you, Marie.
At 3 p.m. Eastern Time today, we're going to be having a live Zoom call with anyone who wants to join. So you'll be able to see other people who are in the co-working space. Seth and I are going to be running another Q&A. So we'll be taking questions from members of the co-working space about topics of working from home, all of those. So it'll be another space to explore what we're talking about here. But you'll be able to see other people that are a part of the co-working space.
But it's important for me to say this is not a course, it is not a workshop, and we are not going to keep this up. That the purpose of the co-working space is for you to find the others, not for us to entertain you. And so once we hit a few thousand people, it will find its own momentum, and there will be leaders in it. You could be one of the leaders, and it will become what it becomes. Our workshops are different than that, but I wanted to distinguish them because I didn't want you to feel after you got there that the Seth and Marie and Taylor show didn't happen all the time.
Oh, cool. And tomorrow, tomorrow, it's work from home is tricky for forgetting which day of the week it is. Friday at noon Eastern Time, we will be also going live, Marie, Sam, and I, about how to use Zoom on your own when you're talking to your workplace now that you're at home, whether it's students that are connecting with other students now, that sort of thing. So we'll go into all the tips and tricks that we use, so hopefully that'll give some insight. We have a question from Philip. Like I said, we'll take about one more question after this. But
okay.
Question from Philip about so many people are reaching out about scheduling one-on-one calls, wanting to reconnect now that we're in this physical separation, and he's feeling a little overwhelmed with that and not sure how to manage it. What are your tips there?
So most of the people who are on this call, all we have is time, right? We don't have a warehouse full of tomatoes. We don't have a machine that works one way or another. We have time. And the time we have when we're a professional has to be allocated. There are people who need to hear something you've said before. That's why it's a good idea to have a blog. There are people who would benefit from hearing you talk about something for 10 minutes. That's why it's a good idea for you to make a video and post it to Vimeo. So that when someone reaches out and says, I have a question about this, you can say, I'd love to talk to you. Watch this first. And then get back to me and see if I can answer your question. But it's possible to fill your entire day with certain kinds of social interactions. And if they fuel you and they're important, please do that. But let's not lose sight of the fact that we are here to make a change happen. And that is your mission. Yes, you have to put food on the table. Yes, you need to make a living. But a career well spent is making a change happen. And you have to guard your time. Part of it means I'm not going to an hour meeting, sorry. And part of it means I work from this time to this time, and then I turn it off. Because just because you're not commuting doesn't mean that you should be working at 70% all day long. It means we're waiting for a contribution, one that will matter over time. And, think of your favorite Bob Dylan song. Think of your favorite board game. Think of anything that has touched you. The person who created it in a finite amount of time, and then they shipped it. And that's what we got to do, is make something important and ship it.
Awesome. All right, cool. We'll do this as the last question, and we have a lot of people. So last question's coming, but first, a little bit about the Zoom room. So the Zoom room that's happening later today, and also another Zoom room that's happening tomorrow, You can find out all the details if you join the Kimbo co-working space. Like we said before, it's free. You just go to akimbo.com and there's an announcement at the very top with all the details of how to join. So that's where you'll find us and all the details for that. Okay, so this one's from Raid from Facebook. He said, well, he's just addressing that the economy is definitely going to take a shift over the next few months, and we're aware of that. It's happening. We don't know how long and how it's going to affect us, but what do you think are going to be the key values and consequences of the actions to focus on to rebuild afterwards?
Yeah.
So especially, I think, when you think about small businesses, I know that they're hurting right now, especially I'm in Connecticut and everything's closed. So that's definitely a space right now that's hurting.
Yeah. First, small couple asides. Thank you, Taylor, for being a technology wizard. We are getting ever better at this. Number two, anytime we say a time, we mean New York City Eastern Time. So 3 p.m. means that. Number three, akimbo.com if you want to check out the co-working space. And number four was, how are we going to get through the slog? Small businesses, if you don't have a lot of reserve, and most small businesses don't, it's going to be very painful. It's going to take a while. And that means it's ever more important to be distinctive, to be important, to be a generous leader, because those are the ones that are going to come out next. But what we also know is that slogs end, and that they change people. We tend to be more generous. After 9/11, after the Depression, after World War II, there's a period of time when people are more open, when people are more ready for the next thing. And so no one wished for this to happen. I certainly didn't. And for the pain and for the medical cost to everybody, it's just a tragedy. But it happened, and we can't will it away. But what we can do is decide, who will we become? And in this moment, while you are healthy and have resources, go become that. And be really careful about being resilient and about having enough resources to get to tomorrow. But hoarding toilet paper isn't going to solve this problem. What's going to solve this problem is doing work worth doing.
Awesome. Any parting words, Marie?
Just a huge thank you for organizing this call, and we really look forward to seeing you in the co-working space. If you join, if it feels like the right thing for you, there's a lot of energy and positivity there. I know getting through this log is going to take other people, and being able to do work together is a really essential way that we connect and that we move forward together. And I understand the pull of friends showing up and wanting to reconnect after a long time, but showing up and doing the work is also a really great way to connect. So maybe invite your friends in too. That could be a good way to reconnect, but also be productive. That's an idea. But yeah, thank you everyone for your questions.
Go make a ruckus. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.